All right. I thought it was going to be a while before I made any more videos, but I actually got something to talk about now. Just some things I've heard here lately. This is going to be a lot of it's going to be about the color red. I keep hearing about some people are fans of red and some people aren't. I'm one of those that are. I am a freak about red. I put red just about everything, in one shape, form, or fashion or another. My trusty favorite crankbait here. It's got a little red touch on the gill, but I juice it up some, and I upgrade the front treble hook to an oversized Mustad triple grip red. This is my belief. I've heard some people say they don't think it makes a difference, or they've never noticed it can make a difference. Unless you've really done some serious testing side by side, I don't see how you can validate that remark. But I'm convinced it helps. I know this much for a fact. It sure as hell doesn't hurt. But you think about it, bass are predators. I said this on one of the Live Wells podcast one time. Bass are predators. Red is the color of blood. We know bass can see red. So how can, an injured fish bleeds. They bleed out of their gills. So, and I'm not the only one that feels that way, because if you go back 50, 60, 70 years, nearly all the lures that were made, they've got a little touch of red around the gills. So I'm the only one that thinks that. So yeah, I put a touch of red on everything. I put a red hook on my crankbaits. I put some red in my spinner baits. This one's got a red blade, got a red bead, got a little red in the skirt, a little red trailer hook. On my big swim baits and whatnot. Wow, I can't believe how they can get tangled up like that. On my Kongs, I got red. On my Hester Monster Shad, I got red. On this big new one I got, red hook, big red VMC. I'm a freak about red. And I've also heard it talk about, why use red hooks on a deep running crankbait. Well, here's the thing. They say, red's one of the first colors to disappear. But now that depends on the water clarity. The clearer the water, the deeper red is going to stay visible. And I've heard it said about, why put red on a deep running crankbait? Well, deep is a relative term. And also, say you're fishing a crankbait that gets down 15 feet. Okay, well, it may not make it to 15 feet before it gets popped. So I just go ahead and put red hooks on my crankbaits and just leave it at that, and just, and I not try to pick and choose, just put it on everything, because there's a real good possibility it may never make it to the target depth before it gets hammered. There's been talk about the red Cajun red line supposed to disappear first. All I can say about that is, how long did Cajun red line stay in business? That was one of the dumbest business models I've ever heard in my life. So that's kind of enough about that. But like I say, the red and the deep running crankbaits, like I say, that depends on water clarity. But the clearer the water, the longer red's going to stay visible as the lure, goes down. And here's a couple other things. People, they always talk about scent. Some people believe it, some people don't. I am a firm believer. I saw a demonstration with my own two eyes that made a believer out of me. It could not have been manipulated. It could not have been coerced. I saw it right in front of my own eyes. I've told this story before. It was at the Bass Pro Shops in their test tank. Somebody was doing a demo with a worm. They had the far end of the tank were two little bass about 14 inches long, kind of suspended. The guy was demoing some kind of worm. He threw the little worm there, and it dropped right down. He just let it fall right past him. They never acknowledged it. You could see their pupils. Their pupils never moved. They just didn't acknowledge it at all. He did that 2 or 3 times. They just totally ignored it. It's like they couldn't even see it. He said, well, I guess I'm going to have to bang them. So he pulls out this little aerosol can and goes and gives it a little squirt. And I'm like, bang, what the hell is that? Well, anyway, he threw that worm in there. And before it got to that first fish, the first fish comes up and nails it. Grabs it, starts pulling, won't turn loose of it, puts a bend in the guy's rod. And the second fish is chasing the first fish. And finally, the first fish turns loose and the second fish grabs it. Now, you can't manipulate that. You know, you just can't do that. I mean, right there in my face. And I have seen the reaction to fish when I use bang, which is all the time. And by the way, I use the bang, the combo, the shad crawfish. I do not leave home without it. I ain't leaving home without it. That's just all there is to it. And also I Googled, I said, how sensitive is a bass's sense of smell? All right, ChatGTP and AI both agree that bass have a very sensitive sense of smell. 0.5 parts per billion they can smell, which is something like the equivalent of 4 ounces to a 6,000 gallon tank of water, according to that. So yeah, I'm using my bang because evidently a lot of people are grossly misinformed about how well a bass can smell. So yeah, I'm staying with my bang. I've been using it for, oh God, let's see, 20, going on 30 years maybe. I ain't leaving home without it. And I heard somebody say something about, he thought that when coloring your braid, the first few feet of line was overkill. If you've got green line or whatever and it turns almost chalky white, that's not a good thing. So yeah, I always take a magic marker and I color up the first 5 or 6 feet of my line. Now that was with Power Pro. I have since switched over to P-Line Endurex, the no fade braid, guaranteed not to fade. Been using it for going on a year now. I really like it. It's slick too. It's not like Power Pro at all. So I mean, I've still got a bunch of Power Pro I've got to use up, but I don't have to worry about coloring the Endurex. The green. This is I don't know if camera will pick it up or not. That's Power Pro. And this is Endurex. You can kind of see the difference in the colors, I think, even on the camera. But yeah, I'm a P-Line guy all the way now. I either use P-Line Floor Clear in the clear for my crankbaits and stuff like that, or I'm using the P-Line Endurex for my braid, 65 pound for my swim baits, glide baits, my big spinner baits, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're back to the red. We'll circle back to that. I am a big believer in red. It just makes sense if you stop and think about it. You don't have to put the human aspect into it. Just stop and think about it. Bass are predators. Red's the color of blood. You know, so why not use it? I mean, you know, I know it doesn't hurt. You know, can I unequivocally say that it helps? No, I can't. But like I say, I know for a fact it don't hurt because I've had too good a success over my fishing life to think otherwise. So I'm going to keep using red. I'm going to keep using scent, things that I know work. And there was like talking about colors, and I said that I've got 2 basic schemes, color schemes. I've got something, well, I guess here's a good example of it right here. Something that's, you know, colored up like a bait fish, and something that's a little brighter and gaudier. And I haven't caught a fish on this one yet because I haven't fished with it yet. But this one here, oh yeah, it was. I think about after the day I caught the 21 fish that weighed 135 pounds, 131 pounds. I caught about 6 or 7, and then I noticed the split ring was almost opened up on the first Kong I was using. So I took it off and I put this one into play. And this one finished up the day. except for the very last fish of the day, which weighed, I think, 7-1, and I caught it on this Hester Fishing Monster shad. But this is the one that I had a 7-9 hanging on one hook and a 5-pounder hanging on the other. I've caught 2 bass at a time before on the same lure, but not 2 big ones like that. So those are my 2 color schemes. Something that's kind of bait fish shad looking, and something that's, you know, brighter and more visible. For top water, you know, this is the thing about top water. I don't know why there's so many different colors of top water baits, because basically all the fish is going to see is the bottom of the damn thing. So who cares what the top looks like? This is just when it's basically a super spook, but it's not a super spook. It's just a knockoff that I got for about 25 bucks. I've already caught a couple of big fish on it. But yeah, I put the red on it, and it's all just one color. I think if you want to talk about overthinking something, worrying about the top of what a top water bait looks like, there's you some overthinking. Like I say, the fish basically sees the bottom and that's it. But I put a red hook on it, and I put a little red on the belly and around the gills. I'm convinced it helps. But anyway, I got to thinking about all that I've heard here in the last day or two, and just want to throw in my 2 cents worth, because it's a hell damn sight easier to do this and trying to type it in the comment section. So anyway, you can disagree or not, but I kind of got the data to back up everything I say. It's not anecdotal. I've got it written down for 45 years. So it is what it is. Anyway, I don't know when I'll get around to making another one of these. Probably when I see another one that piques my interest. But I'll go post this, and people can take it or leave it.